And certainly the first time I was in elementary and I was teaching grade 3, it was like, oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not normally co-teaching maths, because it would be like, and yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing with math. What I remember from math is just those lectures. It's so boring. How do you make it more engaging and interactive and just fun? Instead of, all right, drawing lines, drawing numbers. And so trying to just prepare for something like that. That's why I was thinking that, group activities may be a good way to do it, and it could be if executed correctly and all that.
I definitely think there are pros and cons in terms of what we saw today. I think that setting up for groups when they're doing some of those activities is great, and if you do look at Jo Bauer and how she sets up to do groups, is that making sure that everybody has a role to play within that, so that it's not just being dominated by the most advanced kids on that, so just something to be aware of with that.
That's why I can't wait to start reading this book that Jo.
But I think just looking at some of the website stuff for because you've got a lot of things on your plate, rather than just completely reading the book could be useful. Okay. What did you like about the lesson?
I liked how it allowed me to float around the room.
Okay.
And
so it allows you to monitor. Okay.
Yes.
And what did you notice when you were monitoring?
That I was actually there wasn't as much sidetrack going on like there normally is. The girls weren't doodling as much as they would be. It seemed like they were more engaged. It was nice to go over there and make it more personable in a way, because I was able to go to each group and ask them the question, how do you connect this to a real life scenario?
Okay.
Versus asking as a whole group, because I can see that happening as a whole group. There might have been one or two people saying something. Versus this with a smaller group and going to each group, I was able to ask that question and talk to 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them versus the whole class, and actually get answers from everyone. So that was good. Same with the answers, having them learn to communicate with each other. Maybe one person has a different point of view than another, and it showed. Like everyone had a different answer, but
it definitely allows. I like the way that it does allow for that variance in terms of how they're coming up and different formulae that they're doing.
Yeah. That's why I like that one where coming up with problems and equations and having someone else solve it. That would have been nice if it was a little bit more smoother. It was probably my fault with just giving the directions. And, that's where I think I probably could have given more detail to them, and they could have followed things a lot better, more direction.
What I like was the way that you thought about the general kind of flow about this class, is that you get them activated with a little bit of a refresher with the formulae that they're going to need, and then there's got a group task where they're actually doing something, to create something for another student. So that's very student centered, as opposed to here's a worksheet, work it out, They're creating it, they're thinking about it, and then they're the ones doing it. So I really like that. I like the way that you were trying to see about having those groups sort of like you're experimenting with how that's going to work. So that I think was worth noting. And something else that I thought about here. At the end, you kind of give praise because I think there were some things that had gone a bit awry that maybe had not been made clear through your instructions, and so that's why it got off tangent a little bit in what they were doing. Am I correct? But then rather than sort of putting your face in it, and then seeing how they were using that ambiguity to do what they wanted to do, and they were making those errors. You were actually acknowledging their exploration, apart from saying, it's a mistake and it's wrong. It's like, no, it's a mistake and this is good, because it allows us to see this, this and this.
Exactly.
So I really like the way that you handled that. You still honoured their work, even though partly because of the way that you guided them. It wasn't quite where you wanted them to be by the end of the time, so that's fine. Okay, what would you do differently?
Definitely, especially with math, it's one of those things you don't want to wait the last minute throw something together. You want to do your due diligence and research and do a practice run and know the material. Instead, because I noticed that with math, it's like, I'll just walk through these materials through the book, and then you try to understand it. And
it looks simple.
Yeah.
And then the human factor comes into play. Yeah.
No, exactly. Because I'll go on the board like, yeah, okay, I get it, and then someone will ask a question, and I'm like, oh, well played. Didn't think of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you have like different people coming in, because they think about things in slightly different ways.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good on them because each one will ask a different question, and that's why I always tell them, there's more than one way to figure out an answer, and more than one way to come up with a solution for something, and that's good. And that's the idea. But yeah, that's one thing I definitely change. Just be more prepared, and especially with math, and it's a hard, easy thing to do with math.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it the traditional way, then it is probably a little bit easier to execute because you do a lecture and then they sit silently and do worksheets.
Yeah.
So it's great that you're giving them these hands-on, slightly more interactive tasks to do. So please don't, but in that's inherently a little bit messy. Yeah. And one thing that we'll come back to, and one thing that I think the two areas, and I think you've touched on that, is the first one, much more detailed lesson plan. You need to think step by step what you're doing, what they're doing, how they're doing it. So particularly within groups, what roles are they playing? Who's doing what? How do you want them to interact with each other? How much time do they have to do that? Yeah?
That's where I lost track too, because when you're like, all right, I was like, I know, I always lose track of time.
Yeah, well, that was also because everybody was like all over the place, and it's like, okay, I've had enough now. Let's bring this back down. And then the other thing is your general classroom management. There is a lot of them doing their own thing. So they're coming in and out, and you're talking and you're delivering, and perhaps you've got like 5 or 6 kids actually listening to you.
Yeah.
What I'm going to suggest is that you develop a cue. Okay? So that when you feel that they've lost them, you don't talk over them. Okay? Again, as I said, when you're delivering instructions or you're at the board, the only person that's talking at that point in time is you. Yeah? That's just common, polite respect. The same as when you're asking for feedback and the student is talking, everybody, including you, listens to them. So rather than shouting, and I've come in a couple of times and I've seen you frustrated because you've seen that they're off, and then you grade 6, let's go for the opposite. So rather than raising our voices above the huffle, let's develop a hand signal. So
I've done this one where I'll raise my hand and I won't say anything.
But you need to practice with them. So I don't know, maybe they need to do the Hunger Games or something like that. I don't know, think about a task or something. And then you want to make sure that other people do it, and then you stop. Don't be afraid to stop until you get their attention. Yeah? Because by carrying on when they're like that, you haven't got their attention anyway. So you're missing out. And it becomes a very kind of chaotic classroom then. Now, chaos can be good when it's focused, but I didn't get the impression that is really what's happening. Yeah? And then you lose a lot of time. So it's about really planning and setting up those expectations, executing very clearly what is expected of them. If not, they're going to find their own way because they're great kids and they want, but you need to be very clear. And the way of doing that is one, by planning properly for it, as in thinking about what am I doing, what are they doing, how are they doing it, what do I need to set up this task. When you're delivering instructions, everything was oral today. Yeah?
There was no connection.
Visual connections to follow, there's no structure beyond me listening to you and remembering. That's quite difficult, particularly if you're an ELL or QUIT. Yeah?
That's right.
I would suggest you start using your slides. You put your instructions on the slides. Yeah? The same as when you got all that great feedback for those different things, get them on the slides.
Okay.
Then you've documented it.
And you're not wasting time either, actually.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that too when I'm trying to explain something, I had to write it on the board. I'm like, one, my handwriting's awful.
Yeah.
So that would help
Use Google
out.
Slides.
Okay.
Because then it's easy to share.
Okay.
And to provide
Yeah, because I can
those
just
with
put it on the
kids so they've got
classroom.
notes that are into that. Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of kids actually white me ask, can you share that? Can you share that? I'm
you
like,
might also want people to actually physically make notes because then they're going through that process of remembering as opposed to just relying on somebody else making those notes.
mm-hmm.
So I have to make my own notes, otherwise I don't really, remember or work on stuff.
Okay.
So there's that kind of thing because there were some great different formulas there, and I love the way that you invited other people to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was no way of actually seeing that.
Okay.
So I actually thought that they were going to have the worksheet and then work through it.
Yeah, that was the original idea.
Okay.
And then I kind of just kept on changing it.
Okay.
Because I didn't have anything solid.
Okay.
And I was like, maybe this will be a good idea. Oh, maybe
So
this.
that oral kind of thing
Uh-huh.
can work for just very, very small things.
Okay.
But when you're looking at those different formulae and everything else,
Uh-huh.
no.
Yeah.
You want to have some kind of, you want written instructions, so you say the question, they see the question,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can document the answer on Google Slides.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I took a picture of your board.
Mm-hmm.
You saw me do that, yeah?
Yeah.
I think I did. Where did you go? Oh, there. No? There you go. Alright. So earlier on, you had the screen pulled down to here, and then you were writing all the answers from the review thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an effective use of the board?
No.
No.
That's actually taken away.
And look at all this, a whole third of the board with now going on. It's like, okay, pop quiz is the biggest thing, taking up the most space on the board. And then all of the really hard work that the students are doing is like squashed in down the bottom. Like this.
Oh, man.
Okay, think about your planning of the whiteboard, all right?
Okay.
At the bottom of your plan, if you're going to use the whiteboard and you're not going to use purely Google Slides, think about how you're going to plan that whiteboard out, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That really helped people when I was like the full-time teacher trainer, when they had problems about like spatial and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
To physically think ahead about how they were going to use the board was immensely of use for them, yeah? Especially when you're interacting with lots of different people and you're trying to get stuff on the board, you've got to think, where am I going to put it? Yeah? I like you planned ahead because you want to have that vocab thing up then, but then you weren't using that for so long and it dominated the board, so the actual active part of the board was quite limited. And then you had all these different answers on top of each other, so there was nothing that kids could look back to get a clear flow of what was going on, and again, nowhere to document it in one place. So Google Slides.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure that if you're giving oral instructions, you've got written instructions at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that helps you in your planning.
Yes.
So when you're doing the slides kind of become the lesson plan,
Yeah. Because that was the thing too. I was doing it and I'm like, why does there seem like there should be more going on? There's something I'm missing. And then it happens. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's that's what helped me during my TEFL training was doing a mock lesson or doing that price lesson. Do it before I actually do it, and those always help because I was able to check my time and be cautious of my time.
Yeah.
And know what to expect for the most part.
Yeah.
Because it would just help me organize and just execute everything. Yeah, I'll probably just need to do a walkthrough of lessons, and that'll definitely help, especially with math.
Yeah. Okay. So those would be my two big takeaways. Is one about starting with the planning. The planning, I know I keep harping on about it. As much detail as you can put in that lesson plan, the better. because it takes you through those minute things of the interactions. You know, in your head, if all you're doing is they'll do this, this, and this, that's like a really top level. You know, that's you know. It's not looking at then, but when you go into a classroom and you're with 25, 26 little individuals, how are you going to manage that flow? Yeah? Because let's face it, you know, they ain't lemmings. They ain't going to follow you in absolutely everything you've done. Unless, you know, these guys are individuals.
Yeah.
So, classroom management. So, detailed planning, classroom management. Reset those expectations. Okay? I'm not saying it has to be a totally silent classroom. Yeah? But